Hey, let's do the thing.
Sir, I put in a lot of effort into this podcast. Hey, everybody.
We're going?
Nothing. Hey, everybody. And then, like, just the sound of you drawing. What?
Oh, we're starting. Oh, God.
Oh, I wish this fucker would say something like go or and we're live. Hot mics.
Hi, everybody was apparently not enough of a keyword to make me stop doing what I was doing.
I just imagine you're over there drawing and you're like, who the fuck's in the room with Chris?
Yeah, who just showed up? Hey, what's up?
Is there going to be a lot of people on this podcast? Because we've done that before and it didn't work out well.
No, it did not.
The clusterfuck of awesome. Yo, it'd be great. Let's get 8 people on a podcast.
Let's get 8 people spread across multiple time zones. Some even overseas.
Yeah, there were at least 2 in Australia, weren't there? I don't know. Fuck it. Who cares? That's in the past. I live in the present.
Yeah, Robert was. I don't think we knew any other Australians at that time. Trying to think. I don't think so. At least none that we talk to regularly enough to have them on the podcast. Anyway, like you said, in the past, this is a new podcast.
This is, I mean, it's not a new podcast. This is episode of
Well, it's a new episode.
It's a new
Which number was that again?
20.
Oh, okay. You don't even know.
22, asshole.
Trying to remember.
I'll go edit in me saying 22, and you'll look like a real fucking ass. Shit, I shouldn't fuck with him. He edits the show.
No. Like I just said before we started, you don't edit the show. Dick? You never edit the show.
I do edit the show.
You click a button that says get rid of silence.
I do on occasion go through and cut things out. Like that one 15-minute just discussion about your bowels where you were like, oh God, are we recording?
But again, that was at the very beginning. That was because it was easy. That was the poop soup.
I went through one and cut out a bunch of shit in the middle because it was like, oh, we sound kind of racist. I can't remember what that was or which one it was, though.
I can't either. I do remember that conversation. Or afterwards, we were kind of like, maybe we should not put this one up.
Maybe that one should go in there. I had to do that once because I made, years ago on a podcast, I made some comment about Michael Jackson, and somebody was like, that could be perceived as kind of racist. I'm like, can it? Oh.
Well, not against Michael Jackson, because no one knows what race he is.
No one knows what race he was. You just got to offend all of them to get it.
Yeah.
Remember, if you're listening to the show, Mike and I, equal opportunity assholes.
Mm-hmm. We don't care what color you are, who you're fucking. We don't like any of you.
You can fuck what you want and listen to what you want and dress how you want. We still think you're a dick.
So why are you listening to this show? Because clearly we hate you, so stop it.
That's not true. We love you. Especially you, Hightower. Maybe fish, according to Matt. I don't think that's true, though.
No, he said the other day we were recording an episode of a video. Which one was it? Doesn't matter.
I was going to say, you want to plug it? You're like, a video, fuck it.
I forget which series it was. One of the things on youtube.com/No Dice Mike. But he was saying in it that he doesn't watch any of my videos because he doesn't want me to get sad that the only people watching my videos are my friends. And I said, but the way YouTube's monetization works is the more views and likes that I get, the more money I get. So please watch the videos.
If you are listening to this, 2 new projects of Mike and I's are out. I'm kind of hoping we can do this in alternating. Basically every other Wednesday, the hope is you'll have a new episode of Super Sentai Single Shot. Mm-hmm. Which is Mike and I watching the first episodes of Super Sentai series. That came about because we thought it'd be fun to do, and also because Mike found out if you try to watch Power Rangers on YouTube, Saban will fucking banhammer you.
Oh, yes.
Toei is just like, well, we're not going to air this in Japan. And, fuck you, I don't care.
Yeah, Saban bans you worldwide.
Saban's like, no. Toei's like, we don't care about you Americans.
Well, I think they figure, well, Saban's stealing our shit anyway, so may as well play it in America.
That's Saban's problem. Also recently went up. These are all at youtube.com/ Homeworld Productions?
I didn't know your address, guy.
Well, I always forget, but I remember now it's not the Homeworld because that's not it either, evidently. Because somebody already has the account, the Homeworld, and they have not logged into it in like 6 years for me to send them a message and be like, "Hey, can I have this?
Can I have my name back, please?"
There's part of me that wonders if that name isn't me and I've just forgotten the password for it. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, sounds like something I would do. Homeworld Video, youtube.com/homeworldvideo. I should probably make that a little easier for people to understand, but whatever. It'll all be on the website too, but we also finally put up the commentary to the second Ewoks movie.
That we just filmed like last night? No, 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. It just feels like last night.
Yeah. I've been staying up so goddamn late the last couple nights. Every day has just kind of run together.
I guess technically for you it was last night.
How was technically? How do you figure that?
Because it was Tuesday night, and for you it's still Wednesday.
It wasn't Tuesday.
But did we do it Monday? No, we did it Monday.
It was Monday night. See? Right. We don't even know.
It's after midnight for me. I don't know what's going on.
After midnight.
Wah, 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 wah. Anyways, Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, crappy cinema commentary number 3. After this one, we might actually change the name of the series to 3 Awful Guys Watch Awful Movies.
If we get more with Matt on there, then yeah, that's what we need to change it to.
Yeah. Matt from the old Stinkcast is part of this one. I'm sure Tarv is very excited.
More people that I know are recording stuff together.
Can't wait to listen to this in the hotel at 3 in the morning. I love you, Tarv. Our most loyal fan. I've considered on numerous occasions sending him a CD with like all the Stinkcasts on them. Just like, here, you're the only one who gives a shit about these.
You're the only one who remembers this.
Hold on to these. I'm going to destroy every copy I have.
The people who were on them don't remember most of them, so...
I only remember one of them.
Didn't we discuss that in the very first episode of... Well, it was ERG then?
Yeah, that was almost 50 episodes ago, Mike.
Wow.
When you total them all up. Yeah, we're about 3 episodes away from having to change the name on this one.
Ugh. Every 6 months we got to do a name change. Rebranding.
Oh, God. We should do that until we find one that sticks. Like, oh, God, people are listening to this one? Okay, we're going to keep this name.
We'll just have one until we forget and we go to episode 26 and we're like, wait, weren't we supposed to... fuck it.
This is so weird. We've never done a 26. Oh. But that's what's going on with us. I don't think there's really any other projects. Mike's doing Play Minecraft still. We're all streaming on our respective Twitch channels. God damn it.
I couldn't remember if it was Play Minecraft or the Grand Theft Auto one we did, but
now that I've said it out loud, you're like, that one!
That's the one.
That's the one, buddy. So, that's that. Moving on.
Yay, plugs for all of our stuff that no one will see because no one listens to this.
If you listen to this podcast, by the way, I don't really have a
You don't have a really good grasp on the English language.
No, I'm Michael Leitner. I don't have a really great system for tracking downloads. I have something that sends me downloads. I feel like it's not accurate. So, if you know a really great way to do a podcast to track the downloads and shit, please let me know. Send us a tweet at JCBaggy or at No Dice Mike or at The Homeworld or at Raw Reactor or at NDM Wrestling. I don't give a shit.
Between the two of us, we have 40 Twitter accounts, so you could...
At Flatulent Cow. There really are a lot of Twitter accounts I have. I've forgotten most of them.
Wait, but your Twitter name for JC Baggy is Flatulent Cow. Do you have at Flatulent Cow as well?
Yes, I do. You gotta lock this shit down, Mike.
Because I'm sure people were racing to steal that one.
Do you not have Meat Potato?
No.
Somebody already has Meat Potato.
Well, good. Enjoy it with my compliments.
I should send him a tweet. Hey, Meat Potato's the Flatulent Cow.
What? What's happening?
What's going on? I'm confused.
Who are you?
Who is this motherfucker? So, I don't know where to start, Mike.
Well, 2 things happened that I think we could talk about.
Yeah, we did have a week off because somebody's bowels were...
It wasn't even my bowels. I was just feeling gross.
Just feeling gross. So it was everything. Like, your bowels were fine for once, but everything else was like, what's going on?
Yeah. They're like, their stomach's working correctly, so the rest of us has to act up. There was, and I don't know that there's much of a podcast in either of these topics, but I thought that they were worth talking about a little bit, was the Seth Rollins heel turn
Right.
and Mortal Kombat.
Oh, fuck, right. That's the thing. That was one of the things. Shit. We'll start with that. Mike, Mortal Kombat 10.
Mortal Kombat 10, they released a trailer for it that is the usual kind of bullshit where it's this super rendered cinematic looking trailer that has no gameplay footage in it cuz
None whatsoever. It feels like gameplay footage at parts, but there's no way in hell the game's going to look that good or that fluid.
no, cuz they never do.
They never do. That being said, Mortal Kombat 9 was a very good looking game.
It was, but I mean, it's just the same shit that they do with every video game now where they give you this movie quality trailer and then people get all excited for it and then go, why does the game not look like that?
What do you mean the game's not 4000p with 900 frames per second? Bullshit. I'm keeping my NES. I mean, Mike and I are big fans of Mortal Kombat. I guess we've always been big fans of it, but I do somewhere have like a 2-hour podcast that was just me, you, and Matt playing Mortal Kombat all night.
Did we actually film that?
We didn't film it. We recorded
Yeah.
The audio. I don't think either of us had the capability to record game footage at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was just kind of like we turned it on just to see if we'd get anything good, and what we got was all three of us talking smack while we played Mortal Kombat for 3 hours. And then the franchise, we were playing Armageddon at that point. That was the newest one, I remember.
Right.
Which wasn't a bad game necessarily. It definitely fell flat of expectations.
I don't know that, because after Deception, my expectations were not high.
Again, this is another one of the things where you and I are completely different because I really enjoyed Deception.
I didn't hate Deception, but it kind of, I was thinking about this earlier when I was sort of going over in my head, who the hell could they possibly bring back for the sequel to Mortal Kombat 9, because every fucking person died.
It's going to be Raiden and Sonya Blade and the char-grilled corpse of Liu Kang.
And I really hope that they don't do any zombie characters like Zombie Liu Kang. But
I definitely don't need Zombie Liu Kang, yeah.
It's like with Deadly Alliance, they had sort of all the mainstay characters,
right,
except for Liu Kang. And then Deception, if it was released today, the whole cast of Deception would have just been DLC for Deadly Alliance.
I mean, Deadly Alliance was kind of a 50-50 mix. There were like half of them were like mainstays and the other half were new characters. Deadly Alliance was supposed to be the goal with, or not with Deadly Alliance, Deception. They all fucking have the same name at some point.
MKD.
MK, you want the D? So,
it's not a good job.
I remember reading Deception was supposed to be like a reboot for the franchise. The goal was going to be going forward to get completely new characters. That's why like 90% of Deception's roster was completely new characters, even though they were basically new characters who were just analogs of the old characters.
Right.
Here's Chick Raiden, and here's Jax in body armor, and here's Ken from Street Fighter.
And Girl Kano.
Girl Kano. I studied all your moves. God, she should have said that. Every Kano should say that. But that was the goal with that one, and obviously that didn't stick because the characters, like I said, sucked. They were just analogs for the old characters. So they abandoned that, obviously. 9 was meant to be a reboot. 9 was fucking awesome.
It was. Really good story, too. Which I know, like, people give me shit about that. That's like, why are you playing a fighting game for the story? But Mortal Kombat I've always really enjoyed the story of it.
It's just so fucking out there. Like, it's just a fighting game story. It makes no fucking sense, and they've embraced that.
To a degree. I mean, it's like, they have the endings for the characters that go off in all different directions, and you kind of have to wait until the next game to find out which one of those actually happened.
It's always surprising which ones do, too, if you go through and, like, look at how the timeline works.
Yeah, after playing Deadly Alliance, I would not have assumed that the ones where the Dragon King won was going to be the ones that ended up sticking.
Oh, Reptile's going to... Oh, okay. All right. Liu Kang's actually dead. Shit. What a great opening that was. Liu Kang getting his neck broke. That was a ballsy move.
That could be one of the things that also killed Deception, was that it's like they kill off the main character of their story, and then they just bring him back as a hokey zombie.
Yeah. I was very disappointed in that, yeah.
I was more disappointed that zombie Liu Kang was the main Liu Kang for Armageddon.
Oh, man. Do you remember his ending in Armageddon?
I don't.
First off, I fucking hated the endings for Armageddon. Because it was just the text over them doing the kata, and they were all doing the same fucking kata.
Yes.
I get they had 60 characters in the fucking game, but come on. But Liu Kang's was basically, he beat the Dragon King, or he beat Blaze, I'm sorry. He beat Blaze, and the energy restored his body, and then he basically went to the Elder Gods and was like, Raiden's a bitch, and he became the new Thunder God.
Did you see all the shit that happened on Raiden's watch?
Look at this bullshit.
Look at that. Shao Kahn invaded, Shinnok invaded.
9 had a lot of stuff like that. Like, remember the brothers had the 2 artifacts, and it was like, when you get to the top of the artifact, it's either going to depower everyone or kill everyone.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and it does neither of those.
It does fuck all.
It does nothing.
Those were the MacGuffins to get you to run through that weird story mode and meet every character.
That story mode. I will never forget, like, fighting ninjas on the Temple of the Wind God, and just, like, I feel like the Wind God would show up at some point. Like, I feel he's in the temple going, there's something happening outside. I should probably go check on that.
He was in the middle of tea and thought that his ninjas were capable of handling it.
Eh, fine. I got the best ninjas. I looked them up on Angie's List.
They got a 5 rating on Yelp. They're fine.
So, I mean, definitely a franchise with its ups and downs. But 9 was fucking great. Served as kind of a pseudo reboot. It
was a reboot.
I'm not all there. Yeah, it was. Yeah, just a fucking reboot. Not even a pseudo reboot, I guess. The issue with that going forward is somebody did, of course, ask Ed Boon on Twitter: is this going to be a new story, or is it going to be a continuation of the story that took place in Mortal Kombat 9? To which Ed Boon said, kind of both.
Well, it has to be kind of both, because we saw at the end of 9...
Yeah, everyone's dead.
Well, everyone's dead. Quan Chi was talking to Shinnok, so obviously they're going to go into Mortal Kombat 4, but... So it's like, that's going to be the same? It's going to continue doing the whole, like, the same timeline of the actual games, but it has to be different, because all the characters that were in those games are no longer there.
Yeah. So... I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it. I think the trailer looked really cool. I really like the Scorpion design for this one. I'm kind of on the fence about Sub-Zero, but that's largely because he's so busy getting his ass kicked in the trailer, you can't get a good look at him.
But that bothered me, that Sub-Zero was in the trailer, because, like we've said, everyone died.
Oh, shit, that's right.
So it's like the original Sub-Zero is Noob Saibot, and even he sort of died. It's like, there was no confirmation that he died.
But he's super dead.
He was a ghost that got caught in an explosion. But even then, he would be Noob Saibot. And then Sub-Zero was turned into a cyborg and then killed.
Right.
So there would be no Sub-Zero.
I had completely forgotten about that.
Pay attention, Christopher!
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize this. It's been 3 years since I played Mortal Kombat 9, because that game came out in 2011. I had forgotten how old that game was.
Wow, so did I. I was still sort of caught up in that, there's been a Mortal Kombat game every year. It's like, wow, no, there hasn't.
Yeah, it's been a while. They were too busy doing Injustice, a game which is not great, but also not terrible.
Oh, I guess that is their fighting game in between the 2 Mortal Kombats, isn't it?
Yeah, they did Injustice. It wouldn't surprise me, given how popular that was, if they alternated or did something in between the Mortal Kombats with that.
We'll get another NKDC game.
You know what? If it plays like Injustice, I personally didn't hate Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. The character designs were shit and the story was terrible, but as a fighting game, it was not terrible.
But we got Dark Khan. That was the best character ever.
Oh, I forgot about Dark Khan.
Get an amalgamation of 2 characters that looks absolutely nothing like either character merged to create him.
God, I remember me and you fucking hanging on every bit of news about that game. I seriously didn't hate Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. I picked it up on the cheap Because by the time I bought my 360, it was already like $20. Because that's how long I waited to get a 360. I thought it played fine. The story was fucking weird in places, and there wasn't a lot in terms of replay value, but I thought it was fine. Injustice, definitely the better of the two games. Real nice fighting in it. The story was actually really entertaining. I liked it. I wouldn't mind seeing another one of those, or if they were going to try to do another Mortal Kombat versus DC game and it played closer to Mortal Kombat 9 and Injustice, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Especially if they drop that heroic brutality bullshit.
Yeah, that stuff. God, that's essentially why
that's what killed it. Yeah,
the two things shouldn't cross over. Not if DC's going to be all like uptight about, well, Batman can't kill anybody.
Oh my god.
Sure he can. He's in Mortal Kombat. Let him kill somebody. He's a good guy. Good guys don't kill.
But again, as we've pointed out before, every single one of those heroic brutalities would have killed you.
Yeah. Superman flies you into the sun and throws you onto cement. That's pretty sure.
Remember he hammers you in the ground like a fucking railroad spike.
There was one where he like lifted you way up in the air and then flew you. Maybe that was Shazam.
Might have been.
Since they're essentially the same character.
And then Green Lantern would put you in a bubble and crush you.
Yeah.
And I think Flash would like run around the world a bunch and then punch you, which would have definitely fucking killed you.
Yeah, he like went into super speed mode and punched you, which, yeah, I'm pretty sure getting hit at that velocity,
you're dead.
But yeah.
Dead as fuck. Yeah,
if DC would have gotten out of the way a bit, I think that would have been a much better game.
Yeah. Fucking DC. Yeah, if they could do one of those and do it right, not make it fucking teen or any of that bullshit. Fucking DC. You fucking ruin everything, DC Comics.
But in their next game, Sub-Zero's gonna look and act and be called Sub-Zero, except that he's black and a delinquent.
Maybe that's how Sub-Zero's in this new game.
Oh yeah. It's a brand new Sub-Zero.
It's a brand new Sub-Zero.
Who just happens to be a black delinquent kid.
Oh man, that's what it's gonna be. Johnny Cage nut punched the wall of space and time, like he did the splits.
Right.
Punched time and shattered reality.
He punched Raiden's little time medallion.
That's what it'll be. Raiden will be like, "Fuck this." I will be so pissed if the game does start off with Raiden looking at that medallion being like, well, I guess I better tell my past self not to fuck up again.
I better go back in time and undo all the stuff that I just undid in the last game.
I just got two messages. One is, he must win, and the other is, don't fuck up.
Ugh.
God damn. I wonder if Raiden could have possibly sent a more vague message back in time to save the universe.
Don't what? Don't!
What are you doing, Raiden? I'm just going to stand here. Maybe I'm not supposed to stand here, though? Oh, God.
And we're going to ignore the whole paradox thing with that, right? Then, now that Raiden changed the future, he didn't have to go back and tell himself, so it would have unfolded exactly the way that it did.
It's real fun to be an asshole and point that out about things, but I have learned that if you're going to watch or write a story about time travel, just don't fucking bother trying. Just, it's one of those things where it's like you put so much thought into time travel to try to make it logical. The problem is it's fucking time travel.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't make sense.
It's a fun concept.
Just don't try to apply realism to it.
No.
Have fun. Don't make it make sense. But don't be fucking ridiculous about it.
See, I think the best example of using time travel in a movie is probably Terminator.
Exactly.
Because, like, even though that fourth movie was shit, they still, like, were like, this is not the future that Sarah Connor described. And it's like, yeah, it wouldn't be because you changed all the events leading up to it. So it's like they
Right.
knew that it's like, okay, this is not the future that Kyle Reese originally came back from.
Yeah. God, they're about to reboot that. Well, it's going to be kind of a Mortal Kombat reboot, actually, where they're just going to go back in time to before the other movies.
See, it's like, I would be fine with a fifth Terminator that ended the series, but it's like, at the very end of it, it ends with John Connor sending Kyle Reese back in time, and then what's the next one? The first Terminator movie.
Right. That would work. They'll never do that.
They won't do that, of course, no, because they got to make more money off the franchise that people have long since given up on.
But this one's got Arnold back in it as an old Terminator. That's what you want to pay money to see, right? Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger being old and not doing anything.
I saw that in Terminator 3 and I didn't want it.
Oh, Terminator 3.
I was wondering how they were going to explain that a robot got, like, old and flabby, and they just didn't, and it's an old, flabby robot.
They are actually explaining it for the reboot.
Who cares?
Do you know what the explanation is?
What?
The explanation is, well, it's living flesh around an exoskeleton. Of course it gets older.
Oh, yeah, it would age.
Yeah.
It would still succumb to the effects of gravity on skin.
Oh, man. What a fall from grace. You have Terminator and Terminator 2. Two fucking awesome sci-fi movies. Terminator 2 probably still one of the best in many people's regards. One of the best time travel related movies, I'd wager. Mm-hmm. And then it just goes fucking downhill from there.
Well, that's what happens when you take a popular franchise and then stick in a writer and director who have, like, the very basic knowledge of what it is without actually delving too deep into the minutia of the property. And then try to make
let's just take a second. Let's just take a second here. Minutia is a really big word for you, Mike, and I just want to take a second to recognize that. That was impressive, sir.
How do you like to paint me as such a fucking idiot?
I don't even use minutia. That was very impressive. That was a good job. Good job, Mike.
But yeah, they tried to write a movie that was following up on a really good movie without actually understanding anything about the first one. So it all fell apart.
You wanted to say minutia again, didn't you?
No.
And you stopped yourself.
So yeah, the moral to that story is don't take shit away from James Cameron. Let him do his thing.
I thought the moral of that story was going to be stop making sequels to 10-year-old movies.
Well, there is that too.
Because James Cameron doesn't need to be making any more movies either. Stop making Avatar movies, James Cameron.
I actually liked Avatar.
Fuck you. It was Fern Gully. That's all it was. It was Fern Gully.
It was Fern Gully with a spaceship.
Fern Gully with a really weird CGI Sigourney Weaver. That thing was unsettling. I was like, God, could it get any creepier? And then it smiled. I was like, oh.
Without getting too deep into that, I liked it for what it was. I don't think it needs a series. I certainly don't think it needs its own theme park.
It doesn't need its own Saturday morning cartoon. It doesn't need a series of spin-offs about Michelle Rodriguez's character in the past. It doesn't need any of that shit. It does. I don't need Navi: The Battle for Unobtainium to be released by TBS as a Thanksgiving thing.
I'm surprised that Unobtainium didn't become more of a thing.
That was so fucking ridiculous.
Exactly. That's why it's like the internet should have taken that and ran with it, and there was nothing. As much money as that movie made, there was no one out there making a meme out of Unobtainium.
I will agree with that, because I was even sitting in the theater like, really? That dude created this whole fucking universe. This is the guy that made Terminator and Titanic and
Aliens.
Just a fucking slew of fucking inventive, creative universes. Unobtainium? That's the best you can come up with? This is the stuff they're trying to get. It's unobtainable. What are we gonna call it? Unobtainium.
I have a feeling that he, as he was writing the script, that was just a placeholder. He was like, okay, I'll go back and change this later. And when he handed in the script to the studio, I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't change that.
Oh, man. I like to imagine he didn't put anything in there, and on the day they were trying to decide it, he just really bad, bowel problems. He was like, hang on, I gotta take a shit. Every time they would go to ask him, and finally they were like, just fucking, just... James, come on, it's unobtainium. Leave me alone.
I'm busy. I gotta go back. I gotta go back to the bathroom. That jalapeno dip's coming back on me.
Oh, I wish I could send a Terminator back in time to terminate that jalapeno dip, because I'm paying the price now. I've done a lot of poop jokes on this podcast.
It's because you love mocking my pain, and that is currently the worst thing happening to me on a regular basis.
Maybe I'm just reminding you that you should be grateful because the worst thing happening to you on a regular basis is excruciating bowel pain. Okay, I tried to make that sound better than it did. Speaking of excruciating bowel pain, Monday Night Raw this week. That was an A-plus transition. I feel I should get credit for that one.
That was not an A-plus show.
It was not even a B-plus show. It was a very bad show. It was a show so bad that I finally just set my DVR to never record Monday Night Raw because it was like I don't want to watch this after it airs ever, ever. I don't even watch it while it's on. It just plays in the background.
That's kind of what happened to me. It's especially the Raw right after a pay-per-view.
Yeah, because there's always this moment where I turn around and I'm like, awesome. Oh god, another hour and a half of this shit. Oh yeah. Fuck. So let's right off the bat. My number one complaint with the show was they did stupid shit like that fucking Rusev segment.
Right.
That served no fucking purpose. I keep seeing WWE saying they're going to repackage Tyson Kidd because they don't know what to do with him, because they feel they have tarnished his image so bad, so they want to repackage him as a fucking masked lucha wrestler. I've got this crazy fucking idea. Instead of giving Rusev 15-minute segments to stand on a fucking podium while Russian music plays and Lana goes, Vladimir Putin, fucking boo us. Instead of doing that, why don't we take those 15 minutes and let Tyson Kidd have a fucking match on Raw like he had on fucking TakeOver with Adrian Neville? That will fucking make him a legit wrestler.
Yeah, they did it with fucking Bradshaw, where he was a C-level singles guy after APA broke up.
Right.
Barely jerking the curtain. And then one week he comes out with blonde hair instead of black. He's wearing a tuxedo, riding in a limo, and he's JBL now. And he became WWE champion. That's all it takes. 1 week of showcasing someone in a role, making them seem important, and suddenly people will go, hey, maybe I should watch this guy.
If you go back in time and you look at APA Bradshaw, he's really nothing special. He's a big guy who moves good in the ring, but there's nothing special about him in that gimmick.
No, he's just a big cowboy that beats people up.
Yeah, you fucking make him look like a big goddamn deal. It works. But this Rusev thing, maybe they're trying to do the same thing there, but they've already established him. They don't need to do shit like that. Especially not when he's currently in a fucking feud.
Yeah, he's done nothing but destroy people for the last 2 months. And you don't need to continue building him as a monster.
Right. That should have been a rematch with Big E, or it should have been he should have done a jobber squash like they used to do with Ryback. Something.
Because that worked out so well. No, it's I was fine with the idea of the ceremony, but it should have been used to have Big E run out and motherfuck Rusev and then wave the American flag. And it's okay, you would have gotten a babyface over, set up a match for the next pay-per-view, even though it's a rematch to the last one, but still. Instead, we just had Rusev standing there looking dumb. And it served no purpose but to waste time.
They gave him a medal. They killed 15 minutes. I would have loved, I did say on Twitter, I would have loved it if when he got that medal, Kurt Angle's music played up and he ran out. That would have been fucking great. Unfortunately, that would have been interesting, and that wasn't going to happen.
Unfortunately, I think that's illegal considering Kurt Angle signed with TNA.
Maybe. Well, not illegal, just contract violation.
Just a little breach of contract. That's
breach of contract. What's TNA gonna do? They can't afford the lawyers to sue. Dixie Carter's gonna look real angry on Impact this week.
But they filmed this week's Impact 4 weeks ago, so Kurt Angle can be on both shows.
Man, that worked out really well for a company once, but I can't remember which one it was. Wrestling jokes. So, we come to the end.
I have a feeling that people are actually wondering what company.
Here's a hint. It's not TNA.
But just a brief sidebar there. I went on WWE.com today, and there was a gallery on the front page. Triple H as you've never seen him before. It was pictures from 3 years ago.
I did see where they posted on CM Punk's official Facebook page a link to a WWE article about superstars who have thrown in the towel.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's oh, shots fired.
Yeah.
CM Punk continues to not give a shit.
That's the thing is they're really still trying to mess with him, and he's got his money. Yeah. He's got his hot wife now. He doesn't need WWE anymore, and they still first they wanted him back. Now they're trying to fuck with him, and he doesn't care.
I did have a revelation about that while I was watching Raw on Monday night. I'm glad CM Punk left. Because I loved CM Punk. And I don't have to watch him in this current shitstorm product. I can remember when he was good.
Remember the good old days when Punk was shooting on people and having great matches? And
remember when things were going to change and John Cena was kind of around but not really, and the people you wanted to watch have matches were in the main event of Raw?
It was a good time.
Oh, 2011, we miss you. Man, 2011 was a really good year for us.
Mortal Kombat, CM Punk was running wrestling. It was great.
2011 was good. But, he did the retirement thing right. I feel like he did it better than The Rock did. I feel like he did it better than a lot of them did. He got out before he was in such bad fucking shape that you had to constantly wonder if you were going to wake up to find out he had died in a fucking painkiller overdose. He doesn't have that pressure to come back and prove himself like The Rock does, and don't tell me The Rock doesn't, because he came back and turned his fucking intestines inside out at WrestleMania. I don't care how many millions of dollars he has. He got out, he's got his money, he's doing his little local charity shit in Chicago, just kind of kicking back, having fun. As you mentioned, he's got his smoking hot wife. I'm glad he got out when he did. I'm glad I don't have to see that kind of brought down by the shitty product today. There's certainly nowhere in the fucking card for him right now.
Yeah, it's what would, if he had stuck around, they would have put him in an angle with Triple H, and he probably would have lost, and then what?
We'd have Batista WWE champion right now.
Yeah.
Bryan would have had a match. Bryan probably wouldn't have been on the WrestleMania card.
Well, the idea before Punk left was to finally have that Bryan Sheamus match that they've been wanting to have for the last 4 fucking years.
They must be expecting something really great out of the match.
Yeah.
I won't lie. They did the one at what's the one at Extreme Rules? Is that the one after WrestleMania?
Yes.
Over the Limit.
No, it's Extreme Rules.
Or no, it's Extreme Rules. Right. They did the one after WrestleMania 28 that was Punk and Sheamus in a best 2 out of 3. That was a good fucking match. That was a really good showcase for Bryan as a heel, too.
You said Punk and Sheamus.
Sorry, Bryan and Sheamus. Really good showcase for Bryan as a heel. Did you see that? Yep, that was a stupid question.
Yeah, I saw that. Because that was the rematch for the 8-second loss.
18-second loss, yeah. I remember it was kind of like, that was a fucking awesome match. You know, it would have been great if that had been at fucking WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to look back at that now, though. Everybody was so pissed about 18 seconds, and that turned into such a big moment for him.
Well, no, 18 seconds was when he beat Mark Henry.
Right.
8 seconds was when Sheamus beat him.
Was it?
Yeah. Because it was bell ring, bro kick, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hang on. I feel like that's wrong.
Because he cashed in the Money in the Bank. Bryan cashed in on Mark Henry and was able to beat him in 18 seconds. Or Mark Henry or Big Show, one of those two. Some giant guy. And so it was like, this little guy beat you in such a short amount of time. You suck.
No, it was 18 seconds.
For WrestleMania?
Yeah. It's been like, remember, Sheamus had a shirt made and everything that said 18 seconds.
I thought it was only 8 seconds.
No, it was 18 seconds. Come on, Mike.
Then what was the one with Mark Henry?
Because
that was also under a minute.
Oh, no, it was because they were making fun of Big Show because he only had the title for like a minute or something. Because remember, he didn't cash in on Big Show. He didn't cash in on Henry. He cashed in on Big Show.
Whatever. I'm gonna have to look this up. I know you're wrong.
I've got the wiki up right now. I've got a picture of Sheamus's 18-second shirt right here at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view we were just talking about.
Photoshopped. I don't believe it. You're wrong.
But photoshopped. It's photoshopped. It's photoshopped. It's photoshopped. I'm right and I fucking know it. Fuck you.
Ain't gotta get hot about it, damn.
Too late, I'm hot as fuck, brother.
Turned into Jimmy Snuka, apparently.
I don't know enough about Jimmy Snuka to do an impression right now.
I didn't kill her.
Sorry. I didn't kill her. No, that's wrong. It feels dirty.
He has not been convicted.
Hey, they supposedly reopened the case, but not really.
They did reopen the case, but
Fucking internet.
But anyway, then we had after
Brian successfully cashed in the Money in the Bank contract briefcase on Big Show at the TLC
Oh my God, you're still
event,
on that.
December 18th, 2011. Yeah, I even have that one on DVD.
Oh, you're still talking about that.
Yes, I
We've
am.
moved on.
Have we moved on?
We're glad that
wanting
Punk
to
is
talk
not
about-
in this anymore.
Yes.
Raw was dismal until
Batista quit!
that happened right at the beginning.
Oh, right. Triple H came out, and we were all like, thank God, save us, Hunter. And then somebody was like, that's Jericho. And I was like, shut the fuck up. No, in a move that honestly surprised me, here's what I thought for sure was going to happen. They were getting Batista had to leave to go promote Guardians of the Galaxy because he has a real job. As the Rock Light in Hollywood. We want to get a wrestler, but we can't afford Dwayne Johnson. What's Dave Batista doing? So he had to go promote Guardians of the Galaxy, which is probably a good move on his part because it's going to be more popular than Raw. So, it was kind of a given that somebody else was going to join Evolution. I thought for sure at Payback they would swerve Roman Reigns into Evolution. And even Monday night, I was like, they're going to put Reigns in there. They're going to replace Batista with the big guy. They're going to do that. That's going to be the beginning of Reigns' rocket to the fucking top, while Ambrose and Rollins eventually just kind of squander in tag team hell in the WWE. And then fucking Seth Rollins beats the shit out of everybody with a chair. And you could almost hear Mike screaming from space. Because he thinks wrestling makes sense.
No, I don't.
I will agree.
Don't think that it makes sense. I think it should make sense.
I will agree with your logic. It doesn't really make sense when these guys have not only beaten but soundly defeated these three at the past 3 pay-per-views now? 2 pay-per-views.
2, because the WrestleMania was the Outlaws and Kane.
Right. Oh, God, I'm so glad that match was a squash.
Kane in that loses his WrestleMania match in 5 minutes, and that gets him a world title shot at the next pay-per-view.
Imagine if,
remember, kids, in WWE, you fail upwards.
Imagine if in your job, you walked into the office, you beat the shit out of your boss so hard that he had to be hospitalized to have his neck worked on, and his superior was like, we're going to interview you about a promotion.
Yeah.
You want his job? It's yours. I love applying real-world logic to this shit. Just imagine if, at your workplace, you could just, come out at any time you want, not wearing your pants, have a discussion on a microphone in front of everybody, and then you get to punch your boss in the dick.
Smack your superior in the face with a chair. Wouldn't that be great?
Imagine if your boss came out and said, if you didn't turn in the paperwork right now, your wife is fired. And then your wife quit. Your boss just kind of went, well, I'll get you next time, I guess, and left to the back.
Your wife had nothing to do but to shake her fist. Or your boss had nothing to do but to shake her fist at you and your wife.
His neck's injured. She might be shaking her fist right now. Hand job jokes. No. So Seth Rollins, despite the fact that the Shield has dominated Evolution for 2 pay-per-views, despite the fact that they're now 2 men down because supposedly one of the best of them is now gone to Hollywood. For the stupidest reason ever, I want a title shot against the guy who can't wrestle because his neck's injured. What?
Well,
How did you think that was going to work?
The thing that confuses me is that he said that he was promised a title shot by coming back to WWE. What was the main event of WrestleMania? You lied to me, Hunter. You didn't give me that title match that you promised me. You were in the main event of the biggest show of the year.
So, Batista leaves,
Promise
Evolution comes out. Seth Rollins beats everybody with a chair. And then joins Evolution, and that's your Raw.
Yeah, just from top to bottom, it makes no sense, and it pisses me off because I could write something like that in my sleep, and there's people getting paid money, good money.
I mean, I do kind of wish there had been some kind of a build to it. It would make sense if he felt like they were excluding him from the Shield or he was undermined, but they all 3 had kind of a spotlight at Payback. They all 3 got a pin. They all 3 had a big moment where they fucking decimated a member of Evolution. You could argue it was because maybe he felt he wasn't getting respect, but he was a tag champion with Reigns for ages.
During the first time that they started trying to tease that they were going to break up, he was the one who kept the group together.
Right.
So Ambrose and Reigns would start yelling at each other, and Rollins would come in, "Hey, cool it, we got shit to do.
Calm your tits, you two." So I would get it if they kind of teased it and built it in some way. Maybe showed him being grumpy, but they didn't.
Yeah, there was no build to it. Any of S.H.I.E.L.D. joining Evolution when Evolution has tried to kill them, but then has also lost, so it's like that's the lesser team to join.
Yeah. It should have been Evolution getting a new member that was...
it should have been Evolution just going away because we don't need them anymore.
I would agree with that also. It shouldn't have been a member of the S.H.I.E.L.D. defecting.
The only reason that they brought Evolution together was because they had Batista, the plans for him fell through, and now they're like, well, now what do we do? And, well, Triple H and Orton are here, why not bring back Evolution? And now,
go team.
And now Batista's gone, so it should have just been, no, we're done, because it's only Triple H and Orton again, and two men does not a stable make.
I mean, it does if you put them in a horse stable.
No, because that's for horses.
Well, maybe Lillian Garcia's in there.
That's not nice.
That's not nice at all. I actually like Lillian. She's a very pretty lady.
Matt and I went to a SmackDown last December, and Lillian Garcia came out before the taping started. She goes, SmackDown's about to start filming in 10 seconds. And Matt looks over at me. I wouldn't last 10 seconds with her.
I think one of my favorite things to still ever happen was when they did the SmackDown spoilers. The guy sending him in sent in, Lillian Garcia has come out to the ring. There's a standing ovation for her. And then you didn't hear from him for like another 45 minutes. And everybody was like, wow, the crowd's really hot for Lillian Garcia, huh?
It's going to be a late night, the SmackDown taping.
They won't stop fucking clapping for Lillian. It's the weirdest damn thing. Have you noticed a recent trend, by the way, that the NXT people are like way smarter than the main roster people?
You mean smarter?
Well, you had...
We have Adam Rose. I don't know if it's...
Well, you had Paige versus Brie a while ago, and Kane came out to attack Brie. Brie just kind of stood in the ring like a dumbass. Yeah. Paige rolled out and ran away.
Right.
And then you had Kofi versus Bo at the pay-per-view. And again, Kane comes out. Kofi stands in the ring and looks like a dumbass. Bo, again, rolls out of the ring and runs away. The NXT people have figured this shit out. When Kane comes out, you leave.
Well, you figure, look at how long Bo Dallas has been in developmental. He's seen what Kane does. Well, Kofi's backstage playing video games, not paying attention to the goddamn show. Bo Dallas was watching and learning. And so he knows that when you see fire, you run away.
You know what? Bo Dallas could probably run through that fire. He just has to believe.
He has enough water in his hair. It'd keep him damp. Yeah, so...
But now, I mean, let's talk about a positive thing that's happened since the podcast. Fucking the NXT special.
Yes, TakeOver. Just
TakeOver.
Fucking amazing.
I'm just going to stop watching Raw and start watching NXT instead. The 2-hour NXT specials, again, an hour shorter than Raw. Way better.
Yeah, they managed to let everything breathe, have time for the audience to absorb what was going on.
And they end on time.
Yeah, in less time, and they ended right on time.
They're not even required to do that. It's on the network. WWE owns the fucking network. They could run that thing for 5 hours if they wanted to.
That's what people were saying when the pay-per-view, like, no one had gotten pinned in the main event until the last 10 minutes. Yeah. Everyone's like, the pay-per-views are usually over by now. What's going on? Well, they're on the network. They're not constrained by time anymore. And, well, they should still kind of end on time.
Yeah. I mean, there are still, like, pay-per-view subscribers for that. You can still order them on, like, Comcast and whatnot.
I remember that you asked, like, what about the people watching it on TV? And I came back, fuck them.
Should have ordered the network. The whole time I was thinking I could totally see WWE running the pay-per-view over to try to convince people to order the network. But I'm also thinking, this was kind of what killed WCW, wasn't it?
Well, their problem was that they ran over and didn't intend to.
Oh,
if WWE intended to do it, they might get away with it. But yeah, WCW was just really, really poor timing.
That's an accurate description of WCW all around, actually. Really poor timing.
Kids, WCW was a company that was around a long time ago, and they had to go out of business because they were run by idiots. Not unlike WWE today.
You're going to see something similar happen in a few months with a company called TNA. But that's okay, because Jeff Jarrett's already got a trademark. He's just waiting for those contracts to come up.
He really is just a vulture waiting for TNA to die so he can pick the talent off of it.
I really do feel like, because I was reading a report that supposedly a lot of TNA talent is feeling out to Ring of Honor and to Jeff Jarrett, and I'm like, that's why you don't read about him having signed any talent. He knows what's about to go down.
Yeah.
That TV deal isn't renewed. TNA is done within a week. They won't be able to support themselves.
I think their TV deal was renewed.
Was it?
I remember hearing something. Maybe it was just that because of their ratings, they're not getting the deal that they had before.
No, last thing I saw was that they hadn't actually officially said anything yet. So who knows? It wouldn't surprise me if it got renewed. Wrestling's still a big deal, and it's not like anybody gives a shit about Spike, anyways.
Yeah, it's not like they have they're gonna run another 2 hours of Star Trek Next Generation.
Hey guys, it's more Ultimate Fighter.
We're running another Star Wars marathon. Check it out, guys.
Hey, look, everybody, Death Wish 3. So. But Takeover, Jesus Christ. I kind of agree with the sentiment said a few months ago on the forum I follow, which was we should stop hoping for Sami Zayn and all of them to be called up to Raw and just pray for Cesaro and Bryan to go back to NXT.
Yeah.
The talent's much better. The pacing, well, I say the talent's much better. They still have people like Mojo Rawley.
Who's new?
Honestly, I've never seen him in a match.
I've seen him in a match on a couple NXT shows, and I mean, it's you have to remember that it's still developmental, and so there's still guys that are learning.
Right. But I mean, the big highlights of the show, Adam Rose and Camacho, they knew what they were doing there. They ended that piece of shit quickly, because nobody cares about Adam Rose.
No. Or Camacho.
Or Camacho. Camacho's just like, where's my buddy Unico?
Although I can't remember if it was Sami Zayn or someone. Camacho had a really good match on NXT a couple weeks ago.
From my understanding, Camacho's not terrible. He just doesn't get a lot of screen time. Because for a while, he was just Unico's friend on a bicycle, remember?
Right. I think he's suffering right now. They just don't know what to do with him yet.
Yeah.
He's a big Mexican. What do we do with him? I don't know. We make him beat people up, I guess.
Pair him up with Sin Cara? He could be Sin Cara's translator.
And just wait until TNA goes out of business, and then they'll pick up Hernandez and make some large Mexican team.
Chavo will be like, can I manage them? They'll be like, what? Oh, no, we're good. Oh, Chavo.
Of course, that'll be the death of Camacho, because anyone who has teamed up with Hernandez has been fired. Every single person that he has been in a tag team with is no longer with the company.
Oh, no, Chavo left, didn't he? That's right. Ooh, Chavo. So then we had, Sami Zayn and Tyler Breeze for the #1 contendership. The Tyler Breeze gimmick is working because I would really love to just kick him in the dick.
Yep.
What a fucking douche nozzle. Sami Zayn, still fucking awesome. I really hope the losing streak is for something bigger down the road for him. I think he kind of is going to suffer because there's so many people his size and his style already on Raw. And they could use a guy like that in NXT, so I don't know when he's going to get called up. Hopefully soon.
A problem there is that, again, he has good matches, but little lacking in the charisma, and he just he comes off to me like sort of another Evan Bourne, who when he comes up, it's like he'll be there to do the flippity flips and get a little pop out of the crowd, but they're not going to do anything with him.
The flippity flops and the pippity pops?
Yep, exactly. Zabbity zab zabs. Eat your pudding.
I do like Evan Bourne. Evan Bourne? Whoa, what?
I don't know what matches you're watching.
I don't know. Oh, China. What's she doing in this Evan Bourne match? Oh, I didn't know he could flip into that. I do like Evan Bourne. I hope he shows up soon. I know he's supposedly ready to go after his 3-year streak of the worst luck ever.
He's been ready to go for a year and a half now.
No, he broke his fucking leg, dude, in that car wreck. He's only like just now been able to come back. He's been rehabbing that leg.
The broken leg was like 2 years ago, and he's been fine. He said,
has it already been a year?
He said like a year and a half ago, "Hey guys, I'm ready to go," and he hasn't been seen on NXT. He hasn't been seen on Raw.
Well, he wrestled a match at NXT, but it wasn't a taped show.
That's right. Yeah, he was at like one of their house show things. But yeah, that's the most that he's had in the last like year and a half. He's been ready to come back, and they just haven't brought him back.
I kind of worry he's got the same deal that they had with Ezekiel Jackson and several other people recently, where they're just waiting on that contract to run out.
Right. We said that before on a podcast, that it's like it's a no shock that when Linda McMahon ran for office and said that she's going to create new jobs, that her company stopped releasing people and just started letting their contracts expire.
Right. Which honestly winds up costing them about the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So, oh God, what the hell? Then there was the Rusev and Mojo Rawley beatdown. That would have been even better on Raw if you just had somebody come out and interrupt and he just beat the fuck out of them and leave.
Yeah. Anything would have been better than him just standing there not doing anything for 15 fucking minutes.
While everybody goes, "Hey guys, isn't the main event still supposed to happen?"
What was it? I asked something about oh God, where is it? Yeah, I was saying it's 10:58 and the main event hasn't started yet. I'm begging WWE to bring up the people who produce NXT to produce Raw. Somebody said, because we do need a new new member of Evolution tonight. And I said, what the hell does that have to do with the main event starting after 11 o'clock? He came back with, it's the main event, so it would be fitting end to Raw for a new member interfering in the match, duh. Like, that's not what I asked.
I think his thinking was, WWE feels since they're going to have a new member of Evolution come out, they can start the match late, then it ends on time. But, in a way, doesn't that kind of give away how your show's going to end?
But even then, it's like the promos themselves. Like, S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, cut their promo. It was 11 o'clock before Randy Orton came out for his supposed match.
By the time he gets to the ring, it's already 11:15.
And, yeah, it's like, you have 3 hours. You cannot fit a show into 3 hours. You had a 15-minute overrun when it was a 2-hour show.
Right. It's only like a 5-minute overrun.
You have a whole extra hour now, and you still can't fit it all in? But you give us 15 minutes of Rusev standing on a podium not doing anything?
We also had I'm still trying to think about it. I realized the match I forgot about TakeOver. The Ascension versus who was it?
It was El Local.
That's right.
And
El Local and Kalisto.
Kalisto, that's it.
Kalisto. Samurai Del Sol and Ricardo Rodriguez. Ricardo looks kind of like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in his gear. Like, I just imagine Corey Graves got to the ring, or whoever it is in Ascension. I can't remember. Not Corey Graves. I fucking know that. Guys from Ascension get to the ring, and one of them goes, "Don't think of anything," and he goes, "Oh shit." I tried so hard, man.
Yeah, there's Connor and someone else. I can't remember.
Victor. Connor and Victor. Used to be a different guy instead of Victor, but he did drugs, so they released him.
And Ricardo Rodriguez used to be the manager of the Ascension. Now he's wearing a mask and wrestling against them because they have no tag teams in NXT.
Yeah, they have no tag teams, but they do have a tag team championship. God.
And
they're kind of running.
Connor is celebrating his 10th year in developmental.
Oh, he was on NXT. The actual goddamn, this is confusing as shit. He was on NXT, wasn't he? Fuck yeah, you just said he was.
He was on the reality show NXT.
Yeah, season 3 or whatever, wasn't he?
I don't remember. That was after it went to online.
Yeah,
but
you see where that went.
Yeah, he was in developmental back when it was FCW for like 5 years. He left and did some indie stuff for a year, and then came back, and they put him right back in developmental, and he's been there. So he has been in developmental for 10 years.
You'd think he'd fucking develop it
Yeah, you'd think they'd learn something to do with him.
At some point, they'd be like, "So you ready, buddy?" "No, I'm good."
Of course, he's got the tag team championship now, and they can't drop him because there's no other tag teams.
Well, once they get Hernandez, they can drop Hernandez and Camacho.
There you go. And then they can toil away in NXT.
They can call them the Mexi Pals or something. Um, Boy, they are running out of tag teams all around too. Did you find it fucking hilarious that Cody Rhodes was like, "You can't work with me, brother. I'm on a losing streak, so I'm gonna get somebody with an even worse losing streak."
Yeah. It's like, we're losing all of our matches. I'm sorry, brother. You need a better tag team partner. So I'm going to pick Sin Cara to replace me because he's been on such a fucking roll.
It's like Cody's like, I'm going to make him really appreciate me as a tag team partner. Here, work with Sin Cara.
Maybe that's going to be the build up to their match, is that Cody left the team and he's just pairing up Goldust with worse tag team partners, and Goldust gets pissed off and finally starts attacking Cody for it.
As I've said before, the way to tell is if next week Zack Ryder comes out of the ring.
The third week is going to be JTG, and everyone's going to go, "Who's he?" And then that's when Goldust loses it. And
oh my God, Evan Bourne! I said on Twitter it should have been Big E. Big E and Goldust would be such a fun tag team, I think. Especially if you kind of brought back the goofier elements that Big E used to have when he was a heel.
Yeah.
And I mean, I said you could call them Bookie, but I liked your idea. Call them Goldie, and then they could do a finisher called the Goldilocks.
Yeah, they can have a tag team submission move called the Goldilocks.
Why don't we have the book? That's way better than Seth Rollins joins Evolution.
That's way better than Rusev standing there doing nothing.
Why don't we have the book? Anyways,
put Goldust and Big E together, your rating goes to a 15 through the fucking roof.
You want to make it even better? You do a callback. You have Booker T manage them.
Yes.
They can all three do spin-a-roonies in the center of the ring. Or, well, Booker and Goldust can. Big E can try and fail, and they gotta, like, console him and make him feel better.
I don't think even Goldust can do a spin-a-rooney.
It's okay, little buddy. Shucky ducky quack quack.
Oh, God.
So, back on TakeOver, because that was the good special. Charlotte and Natalya for the Divas title.
I was worried we weren't going to have an hour of stuff to talk about.
I know. I'm really impressed. Go us. Charlotte with Ric Flair in her corner. Her dad, Ric Flair. Woo! Nature boy. And Ric Flair, very lively, very active, very into the match. Natalya with Bret Hart in her corner. Bret Hart, I think, was watching somebody snap the necks of puppies off camera.
He had all the emotion of a Ken doll.
Oh God! When you tweeted me and you were like, "It's because of that stroke. You can't really emote." For a second, I was like, "Is Mike serious?"
I am serious.
Okay.
It's like well, Bret has never had a wide range of emotions anyway.
I do know the few times I've seen him like emote, like in the ring after he put somebody in a sharpshooter after he came back. It's always kind of like, oh, he's sweating like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, but since his stroke, the left 75% of his face is paralyzed, so yeah, he really can't smile or anything.
Bret Hart put Vince McMahon in a sharpshooter and turned a very interesting shade of red. It was like, I don't think he should be in the ring, guys.
No, there's a reason why his career ended 10 years ago. He should not be wrestling or even putting on sharpshooters just for fun.
So with those two guys alone, and with the focus that this match was given, Charlotte versus Natalya for the NXT Divas Championship, already the biggest scale Divas match WWE has done in years. I can't think of anything?
Nah.
Huge scale match.
I mean, I think the biggest one that they had was back when Trish and Lita were in the main event that they kept talking about at the Hall of Fame ceremony. Like, it was a big deal when they put Divas in the main event. It's like, yeah, but they did it once, and it was like 10 yeyears ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like the main event of Raw, no less. But
that main event started on time.
That started on time, ended on time. Spike didn't put up with that bullshit. So, in addition to being the biggest scale Divas match in, let's just say, a decade, probably one of the best Divas matches in the last 15, 20 years. Better than probably any match on Raw in the past year.
I'm already counting it as a match of the year candidate in my book.
It was amazing. Yes, Charlotte's still kind of green in the ring, but I thought that was a really fun, great match. The emotion was there. Both girls knew what they were doing, and most importantly, the one thing that sets that apart from every Divas match on Raw that everyone complains about, they had time to fucking have a match.
Yeah.
It was amazing what happens when you give the Divas more than 5 minutes and don't end it with, Alicia Fox pouring Sunkiss down her chest and giving the stagehands a wedgie.
I loved it. That stagehand was the son of the Shockmaster.
Yes. That was one of those great little trivia bits. I remember watching it thinking, who is that poor bitch?
But yeah, even if Brett and Rick weren't there,
That would have still
it would
been a
have
huge
still
match.
been a great match, and
It would have definitely been a little harder to get people into it without Brett and Rick there, but I think once it got going and people saw something special was happening in that ring, and not, them in a pit of gravy making out.
That's another thing. It's like when you get two wrestlers wrestling instead of bikini models,
Right.
like, holy shit, they can actually have decent fucking matches.
Right.
Get people who are actually trained, actually like wrestling, are actually there to be wrestlers, not to be bikini models and make some money.
Not to wrestle in a fucking jacuzzi evening gown match for the championship.
Yeah. Like, and it's amazing the shit that you can get out of women when you actually treat them like human beings.
Right. So that was serious match of the year contender. And a match that I really look forward to when they inevitably do that at WrestleMania one year. I feel like at some point down the road that's going to happen. Maybe not with Natalya. Maybe they'll try to do it with Paige or AJ or something. But if they've got like some good divas in the company, they could put on a fucking great match with some of the divas they've got. And unfortunately, you get again, Alicia Fox is angry.
But even Alicia Fox
now, or you saw Cameron interrupted Paige at the like Fallout thing for Payback, right?
I didn't watch the Fallout.
Oh god.
So we're gonna have Paige versus Cameron now?
Cameron's like, we worked our butts off. Why do I not have my chance at the Divas title? And I'm just like, oh no, don't do this.
Because you're a goddamn cheerleader that was the first person kicked off Tough Enough. Fucking idiot.
It's a really bad clip. I'll find a link.
But like even Alicia Fox in the last 6 months or whatever has shown incredible improvement.
I like Alicia in the ring, and she's got a good personality. She doesn't need this weird gimmick that they're doing now because Beyonce's sister beat the shit out of Jay-Z in an elevator.
Oh, that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, that's why they're doing it.
Okay. I was wondering why they suddenly decided to make Angry Black Woman, but...
Yeah, and I mean, she's not even... she gets mad, and then she goes, like, punches the announcer's table for 5 minutes. It's like...
And steps on JBL's hat.
There's a better way of conveying this, guys. Does the Steve Austin beer salute, but with a can of diet soda and a can of Sunkist. I'm like, I don't think that's how this works. Also, that's going to taste disgusting.
Also, not racist at all to have the black girl drinking orange soda. Guzzling orange soda.
Who loves orange soda, Maggle?
Alicia Fox do ooh ooh.
I love it, Maggle. Get off my hat.
Maggle.
Oh.
We drink Sunkist on Monday nights, Maggle.
So, this is where King went through in like an incredibly lame, slightly racist joke that everybody would go, that's wrong, but he survived a heart attack, so we'll let it slide.
We can't punish him too bad. He's old and had a heart attack.
He almost died for his sport. We should let him live. So, so then, of course, the main event of TakeOver. I had never seen Adrian Neville in the ring before. I don't really watch NXT. I watched some of the last special, but since that was the first thing they streamed live on the network, I did not watch much of it because it kept going out.
Really? I didn't have any problems with it.
Oh god! At one point, like a bunch of people had issues with it. I think it was because I think it was people who were streaming on devices, not watching on the web. It like basically when Tyler Breeze came out, the whole damn thing locked up, or no, it like locked up like right before the main event, and then it kept cutting back to Tyler Breeze's entrance.
Right.
Maybe that's why.
No, I did have one glitch, but it was that they were going to start a Tyler Breeze and Xavier Woods match.
That's
and
right.
Rusev came out, and Tyler Breeze fucked off, and he beat up Woods.
Right.
But it's like the stream glitched. I hit refresh on my browser, came back, and Rusev was standing there over beat up Woods, and it's like, okay, I guess I know what happened here. And then the main event started, and I had no problem from there on in.
Yeah. So I had not watched an Adrian Neville match. This is my first time seeing him. I have seen numerous Tyson Kidd matches. I do like Tyson Kidd. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I feel he is an underrated talent, and I feel like all the problems WWE is claiming they have with him would be solved if they would just let him have a fucking match on Raw, and not a squash match where he has Rosa Mendez's abusive ex-boyfriend play his bodyguard. I also think it's a definite bonus that he has hair now and doesn't quite so much resemble Howard the Duck. He looked like Howard the Duck. If you put, people always say the Miz looks like Howard the Duck, but when you take that kind of like front flippy bullshit thing, Tyson Kidd, he looks exactly like, especially because he's always making a fucking duck face in his pictures.
It's the Chinese baby haircut.
Chinese baby haircut. God damn it, Tyson Kidd. This is why you're not a main event player like Brodus Clay.
That took me a second.
Jesus Christ, though, this match, Adrian Neville and Tyson Kidd for the NXT Championship. I will admit, the only, like, truly disappointing thing about this match was that going into it, you knew there was no way in hell Tyson Kidd was going to get the NXT Championship.
Yeah, it was kind of telegraphed there.
It was like, he's not going to fucking... I mean, on the one hand, if they had been like, this is how we're going to repackage him. We're going to give him this belt, and he's going to show up on Raw and make a huge deal about it. They could have made him like a fucking chicken shit heel like that. That would have been great. Would have been better than putting a mask on him and pretending Tyson Kidd never existed. I'm trying to say that's a bad fucking idea.
It's a really bad fucking idea.
This guy's really fucking great. Let's put him in a mask. I feel like if WWE had the possibility of doing it, then they'd put everyone in a mask so that they never lost an employee.
But hey, putting a guy under a mask who's really talented in the ring and underrated worked wonders for Jerry Lynn.
It's working wonders for Unico right now. He's losing matches with Goldust. That's more than Sin Cara ever did. He just lost matches with Rey Mysterio.
Well, Unico also doesn't injure himself near as often as Sin Cara did.
Or Rey Mysterio, for that matter. Poor Rey. Held together with duct tape and dreams.
Did you see the thing that they extended his contract? Not because they still want him around, but because he's been injured so much that they feel he owes them time.
Well, that's kind of a standard thing. They have a clause in the contract where if for like so much of a percentage of the days of your contract you are unable to work because you're injured, they can claim you owe them time and extend the contract.
Right, but they're not going to use him.
Well, that's because he's out injured right now. They still want to use him. The talk was they wanted to offer him a contract as an ambassador and have him basically just kind of go around and be, I'm Rey Mysterio. You kids love me because I'm the same height as you are. Don't be scared. It's just a mask. This one eye is a contact lens, I promise. With that, what I read was he was considering just outright leaving the company. So I'm not terribly surprised they extended his contract. Kind of a shitty thing to do, especially for somebody who's been around as long as he has, and whatever.
Well, it's like his best years are behind him. He's had 12 knee surgeries.
Right.
It's like, even if he does leave WWE, what's he gonna do?
Yeah. Go to TNA and kill himself with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Like they could afford Rey Mysterio.
Well, he's another one of those guys who has saved his money. I mean, he was getting paid Turner money for 2 years after WCW closed because he didn't buy out his contract.
Right.
So it's like he's still good there. He doesn't really need WWE, so maybe he'll just call it quits, which would be the best thing in the world for Rey Mysterio right now.
I think he'd be a good fit as a legend. I imagine they will wind up offering him a Legends deal. They'll put him in the Hall of Fame, and he'll wind up being the guy that like shows up for the Be a Star stuff, and every once in a while he shows up on Raw to be, beat up by Rusev or something. He'll be Mexican Hacksaw Jim Duggan, basically. Yeah. But not really, because he's from California.
He's still of Mexican heritage.
He's still of Mexican heritage. Booyaka, booyaka. Sex with guys.
He's got it right across his belly, Mexican.
Mexico. By that logic, Hernandez is really Kryptonian. He's got a Superman logo right there. They
goddamn branded him.
They were like, we want them to know you are one of us. Because we've tried to talk about this match 3 times now. Neville and Kidd. Great fucking match. I don't think we're going to have an hour worth of stuff to talk about, Chris. This was a really great match. Again, much like Charlotte and Natalya, I kind of wonder where we're going to see this on a bigger stage.
I don't think that we're going to.
You don't think Mass Luchador Tyson Kidd's going to take off?
I don't think Tyson Kidd is going to go very far in WWE, as good as he is, because Triple H is in the position of power that he's in now, and all the hearts have a problem with Triple H for some reason.
Right.
So it's like even Brett, who doesn't really hate Triple H, like sort of shit on him in a couple interviews, saying that he's not as good as everyone thinks he is.
4 out of 10.
Yeah. So it's like Triple H takes that shit kind of personally because he's Shawn Michaels' friend. And
oh no, no, stop spitting truth bombs.
And it's like this is the reason why Natalya hasn't done anything except have weird fart gimmicks. And why Harry Smith was kicked to the curb, and why Tyson Kidd is working his ass off and still can't get out of developmental or jerking the curtain on main event. It's just Triple H's weird vendetta against the Harts keeping him from doing what's best for business.
Remember there was kind of that weird period where you had Tyson and Natalya on Total Divas being newlyweds, and then on Raw you had Natalya making out with the Great Khali.
Yeah.
Oh, WWE.
During the pre-show for TakeOver, they had Kid and Natalya doing one of those sit-down interviews with Michael Cole. And they're talking about, well, Tyson on Total Divas, you're not that nice of a guy, and you're kind of jealous that Natalya is on Raw, and you're still in NXT. So, are you going to be able to be happy for Natalya? It's like, what the fuck? Which, I mean, solidified in my mind that everything that happens on Total Divas is a complete work.
Yeah. I wonder if the whole thing between them at the end of TakeOver was kind of planting seeds for something at Total Divas. We're certainly not going to see it on Raw. They had another opportunity right there to repackage Tyson Kidd, too, and they didn't fucking do it when Paul Heyman was fucking laying into him. If Paul Heyman had just went, that's why you're the new Paul Heyman guy, Tyson, and run with that, man, they wouldn't have to put a goddamn luchador mask on him, that's for sure.
But again, we've talked about that, too, that, I mean, it hasn't worked for Cesaro. It didn't work for Axel and Ryback. You cannot just make someone a Paul Heyman guy.
So far it's working for Cesaro. The current plan with Cesaro is they want, the last I heard, Cesaro, they want to win Money in the Bank. And then at SummerSlam they want Lesnar to win the title, but you can't have Lesnar have the title because he won't be back till WrestleMania. So they want that night right after Lesnar wins, Cesaro to cash in and beat Lesnar.
That's a terrible idea. That's a fucking awful idea. Why have him win Money in the Bank when he won the Giant Battle Royal? He
that
had
Battle Royal,
a thing that would make him a star right away.
That Battle Royal only existed to give him a giant styrofoam statue for Jack Swagger to break on Raw.
He won it. They could say he won the Battle Royal. This is his reward for winning the Battle Royal, a shot at the championship.
You know what the really sad thing is? They did this Battle Royal, they hyped it up, they made a huge deal about it, they did absolutely nothing about it, but they want to do it every year at WrestleMania.
Well, now that they're not paying guys pay-per-view bonuses anymore, they can afford to fit more guys on the show.
Oh, WWE.
Oh, God. It's like they had...
Well...
But no, it's like, as we've said on Twitter and stuff, that it's like Cesaro, if this was working for Cesaro, he would be in a much more high-profile place than feuding with Wade Barrett and Rob Van Dam over a title that hasn't mattered in 15 fucking years. It's like he is above the level that he is at right now.
I would agree.
And I think trying to brand him as a Paul Heyman guy... Especially when people wanted to cheer him, and then they put him with a heel manager, and now people are like, well, we don't know if we should cheer him or not because he's with this guy who's an asshole, but we still like to watch him swing people around. It's like they should have just let him be babyface, have him win the Battle Royal, and then start putting him in main event programs, not stick him with Paul Heyman, try to manufacture another Paul Heyman guy that didn't work twice already, and then give him shots at mid-card titles that no one cares about.
I concur.
Motherfuckers.
Well, now that Mike's had his aneurysm, I don't think we'll have an hour worth of stuff to talk about, Chris.
I didn't think we would.
We'd like to remind you to support the show, become a Patreon patron. God, that's a fucking mouthful. Patreon.com/roomfull
It's hard
of
to
nerd
say
stuff.
Patreon patron.
It is hard to say Patreon patron, but I don't want to say become a Patreon, and then I don't want to say become a patron because it's not patron, it's Patreon. Bah!
You're patronizing me.
I need a shot of Patron. Patreon.com/roomful of nerd stuff. As little as $1 a month, you can support the show, which helps us do things like get Mike out of his house, which has a bathtub full of sticks and dirt. I'm not going to ask you to explain that on the show. I'm terrified to ask.
I don't even know why it's there.
Well, yeah. Donate, and then also check out Mike's stuff, manandsuitcomics.com. Did I get that right?
Yes, manandsuitcomics.com, nodicecomic.com, youtube.com/nodicemike. Is that all of them?
Sure. youtube.com/homeworldvideo. Go check out Ewok Adventure. And also go check out our first episode of Go Ranger. I'm kind of hoping every other Wednesday you'll get a new Super Sentai single shot, and every other Wednesday, although you don't get one of those, assuming we have one in the can, you'll get a movie commentary. Those will probably be a little less regular because they take a lot to produce, and when Mike chooses the movies, it makes me want to bore my goddamn eyes out.
Body Slam's coming up next, guys.
Spoiler alert! And as always, subscribe to us on iTunes or check us out on YouTube. I'm going to start putting these on YouTube. Maybe that'll work better for us. I don't know. Who cares? Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Send your suggestions for what we should call the show after episode 25. Mike has an aneurysm as the leading contender.
I don't think
No?
I'll have enough to have an aneurysm every week.
Every episode just ends with you going. Good night, everybody. 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 Good night, everybody.